going to just raise that, size that a little bit. But yeah, so we watch through the stream, we comment on the plays and decks and all such things, and try to learn as much as we can from it. What's going on here? Why is it super dark? Okay, that's better. Oh, no, I want the sound off, but not the sound. Okay, so we have Ink Dooku. I did not see this deck. Oh, geez, this is like a 4-color thing? Why is it dark? Why is it doing this? Maybe I have to, like, keep my mouse moving? I don't know why it's going dark. But that's annoying. Anyway. We, Oh, Jesus, this is annoying. Why are you doing this to me, Twitch? You've never done this before. Like, it goes dark. Like, I don't know if you guys are seeing it go dark on you when I stop moving. I think that you are seeing it. I'm just going to check. Oh, no, it's fine. I think it's just on my end? Weird. Okay, well, if it's fine for you guys, then I'll just continue on with it. Anyway, this is a 4-color mid-range deck, it looks like, to me. Oh, okay, it's like a 4-color Alessi deck. This looks weird, but interesting. I'm actually really fascinated to watch this. And then Juan Anders is the opponent here. It's going to display the ambition to kill this, obviously. Get some damage in, gain some life. I need to take a look at this deck. I guess it wasn't in the top... Maybe it didn't make to the top 16 or whatever for it. That's unfortunate. Not going dark here. Yeah, no, it gets the ending that it deserves. Yeah, so since it's not going dark for you guys, then I'm like fine with it. I can watch it perfectly fine, and it's showing up great for you. So that's all that matters. Yeah, it's getting its shit kicked in basically here because it's just too low on the tempo. I mean, this seems like. I mean, I'm very rapidly starting to wonder about what this deck does that I should actually care about, because it feels like it's a very simple, a similar deck to Winchest, but with like probably a couple matchups that are a little bit better, a couple matchups a little bit worse, and then a lot of inconsistency issues is kind of what I would be worried about. It's like just like extra grindy. I mean, Alessi is just like not the card that I feel like Winchest needed. Yeah, power problems. Perfect. I love it. Yeah, so we died here on 4, or on 5 rather, not having anything to do. Multiple Zalchis. Multiple Zalchis would have actually been interesting for this weekend. I don't know whether... I honestly feel like multiple Zalchis might be better in the Genève Mirror than multiple Howling Peaks. I'm not certain on that. I would have to actually test it. But I think that it's actually worth testing, because that's one of the reasons clearly in my, like, for my estimation of like the reasons why the Howling Peak decks like went up to 4 main is to, oh man, there's like a Diesel's office in this thing too. It's so fucking greedy. This deck looks like hella greedy. Well, I mean, something that I've mentioned on the stream a bunch of times before basically is that like a deck that is running 4 copies of Display of Ambition, Slay, Torch, the Smugglers, like, you're gonna win a lot of games. Depends on the builds. I mean, builds matter a lot, for sure. This is just like an alternative build of Winchest, basically, where you have splashed in Alessi and the Great Parliament. I just don't think that those cards are good enough in this deck for you to warrant having them. Like, I would just rather play kind of like normal-ish cards. Like, what I would also have to see the specifics of what you've cut for them too. I think it's correct there to Torch in response to that. Oh, I guess you could polymorph it too. That also works if you're concerned about it being resurrected. He seems very concerned with it being resurrected. It's actually interesting to watch Juan play this matchup, because I would think that they probably tested this, because their plays are is very bizarre, honestly. He's done a pretty good job though of neutralizing basically everything in the deck, or at least in the hand. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Aggro control. Argo control, I apologize. Reads very similar to aggro control, which is something I'm familiar with. One Ender's deck looks incredibly greedy, though. It's a very, very thick version of Genev. Like, things we've seen so far, like, is playing Jotun Feast Colors, playing Howling Peak, it's playing a Zelchi. I imagine that this deck very rarely loses to somebody going like, why do you need that much beef? Yeah, I'm generally of that same opinion, Iliak, that it is hard to. Oh, I guess you get access to that card. I mean, it's a good card, so don't get me wrong, but whatever. This is a very weird deck to me for the side of the four color. I imagine it's also just like something that once people see kind of how it works, it's going to go off and down in popularity and power a lot. It's not a. They're both bad. Yeah, they're both kind of bad. It is one of those. I think that the cost in the four color deck is less that you're not going to hit your influence. I think that you're usually going to hit your influence. It's that you're going to have to just play more depleted power, and that's just like one of the problem with this with Induku's deck is that you're probably just going to get tempoed out a lot of games. So I don't know what's going like. I would have to test it. Like I obviously haven't played this deck myself, so it's hard for me to confirm. But here is definitely a case where you're like have the potential to lose to just influence right now. Yeah, I guess Tomb is fine. I don't know. It's weird. By the way, the stream title is cut off the main directly before gold. That is important, Allendor. I will change that after this game. We are most of the way through it anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Both of these decks are annoying me in their own ways. They just both seem overly greedy. And like also what you're seeing here is that they're not losing to being insufficiently greedy, right? Like they have both games have been lost to one player getting tempoed out. And so I'm not sure. I don't see the campaign terror. Yeah, that's a question that we're kind of dealing with. I've definitely bought it there, Robin City. Like it and at least the Waystone is showing up for me. So I hope that it's active. And if it's not, then I'm going to talk to Direwolf Digital about it because I just can't confirm it from here. So especially if anybody does get drops or anything like that, like please let me know because I would be really interested to confirm things one way or another. If not, I will like remove all that information and then contact Direwolf Digital and try and make it up to people later. That goes to another one drop. We transform things again. Andrew is playing like super conservative too. Just constant like these Jotun Feast colors have been in hand for a while now. Which is a little bit strange given the fact that I guess you just so desperately don't want a stand together on an Alessi. Because like that's just so hard to beat for this deck. Because once the DLSs just like start getting into control, like they're going to kill you. That sequencing is très bizarre. I guess you wanted to pull the sigil out of your deck. That's thin though. I would rather draw the card because especially that makes Heart of the Vault being second from the top being much worse. Also, like you don't have the opportunity to draw a merchant and then do some other stuff. Like I don't know, it actually constricts your choices quite a lot. Molten Kova, man, this deck's greedy. Like, just incredibly greedy on one side. Not sure what we have in the market at this point for Ink Dooku. We definitely have the Stand Together out. Huge running out from one side coming up. Yeah, you remember this part? This is interesting choices there. I like it. Not sure what you do here. There's a huge misplay. I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, playing with the Mullet and the Kova there is like... Maybe it's wrong, I'm not sure. And sort of the Sky King, and these people are just hella greedy. I am not... Like, I am a greedy person. I am not this greedy. Oh, that was also definitely a mistake of sending back the fire sigil over the seat. Like, what is the seat accomplishing? Oh, yeah, that's a huge punt. That's a bit... Yeah, there are, like, several ways to play that one that is much better. So you could attack and then copy it, and then you do, like, a fuck ton damage, and... I don't know, solve all the world's problems. Yeah, I think that you're supposed to attack with Mola Nikova and then mirror image. Because it's just never going to work again because of the sequencing as well. So getting that attack in first is really important. Yeah. I don't know. It's... Like, these feel like decks to me that are trying to win on the... Are you going to, like, also just, like, vanquish this Sandstorm right? And I really hope that you don't. I'm, like, preparing my body for it, though, because just from what we've been seeing in the play so far, it's been really bad, honestly. Like, kill it, attack with that. No, okay, it doesn't do it. Thank God. Thank the Lord. Can we also talk about playing this Sandstorm Titan out when you have two 8/8 flyers in play? That's also another... I mean, part of it is that it's just variance, right? Like, there's going to be some people who literally have only killed smugglers. I mean, it's just a question, though, of, like, it's such a high-value play, and it's just like, A, remove all the Aegises. It does kill, like, the smugglers, which, like, you care about for it, but you'll never get that spark value again later in the game. And is the Pyro Knight really that important? I don't think so, in terms of, like, having to kill it that turn. Because, for instance, now you don't have the gun down for next turn when the show comes down. So I think that was a mistake. I agree that it was a mistake. That was weird ordering, but whatever. I mean, it's kind of fine. The 2 damage doesn't matter too much, but... Yeah, the removal of all the Aegis definitely matters. I don't know if they have Defiance in their deck, but technically that would matter there if you... the situation. Let's pause this. Attempt to pause it at the very least. And change the title. It's not here. Oh no, I do it over here. change that up. I'm thinking you have to click the gold drops one button to the left of your purchase. Oh, maybe that's what I have to do. As I said, I've never done this before, so I am still learning how it works. Twitch drops. Gold drops. Oh, yeah. You're right. I did start it. It is active now. Starstorm is a winner, so we are going to go to quite the end of that. So, yeah, that is Starstorm, man. Thanks for helping me out, buddy. I am incompetent, and we're good now. And I'm happy to just not be. I'll change this from I think to be certain. Because I have figured it out now. I'm just, yeah, very, very dumb. There's a first time for everything, yeah. Thanks for the goodies. Yeah, no, my pleasure. My first time doing it, though, so. Why do you keep on jumping, little icon thing? I'm going to quit you. I don't know if you guys can't see it, but it's been bothering me. Okay. Huzzah. Everything is operational into the second round. I always feel bad about the technical difficulty things. I mean, it's hard to figure these things out, like, not on the go, because, like, I can't, like, test a drop campaign for it. Oh, right on time. That was best current, but I can understand why somebody might want to separate buying the campaign from activating. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like what's the thing that you're like saving up for the opportunity of like getting it and then like not using it immediately? I mean, I guess some people might be like that. Most people are joining us now. Thank you very much for hanging out. I know that some of these might be the auto viewers, but that's fine with me. I'm happy to just have you here. What is going on here? We have Grug APM that seems to be developing a pretty scary board state, but they are only at 7, which is not a high life total. LV has the 3-color tokens deck. Yeah, this definitely seems like a show. Talir attack is a little bit surprising. 7 is not a large life total. Oh, this is definitely a game I wish I could watch from the beginning. Yeah, people are just filing in now. Up to 60 people. Just it's so funny how that works. Just lovely to have you all here, though. Yeah, so we are doing an analysis of the ECQ, watching how things have been going down, trying to learn what we can from it. Sort of Unity, I don't think allows us to break through here still. Yeah, because there's just too much beef on the ground. I honestly think that the approach here should be to just Talir up. Can with around 300 viewers since. Yeah, no, I think that it's probably going to be something like that is going to... I mean, I'm happy to have everybody here for it, so it's definitely not complaining. If you're attacking with this, I feel like you want to go full treasure trove. Because the value definitely matters right now. I just also don't think that you want to attack. I think that you just want to say, well, Talir is going to win the game for me. Unless they kill it. People are hustling. Yeah. All hustlers welcome. I do like this attack, actually, of getting all of the Titans off the board, and now we have just a clear attack with Show. That's great. Sounds like we had a follow from Sabertooth 84. Thank you so much for coming, hanging out, and following. Just not using the abilities? I mean, that's technically legal. I guess you're just like far enough ahead on value that it doesn't really matter. Like, what's your opponent going to do? They just probably just don't have very many draws that even do anything from that point, so I don't know. It would also be nice to know the decks a little bit better, but like the top 64 decks, we don't get to see all of them on the or I haven't seen all of them. So Julius Nova Chrono. Okay, Nova Chrono. And versus Icarus. I've played against Icarus, I know, a couple times. And I think that Julius Nova Chrono has done well in some other events. Well, it's done here anyway. League Dealer, thank you very much for the follow. Yeah, just close game. Since the... Yeah, I think that it kind of makes sense to me of doing that. I guess that's clearly a game, though, that there's like multiple paths to victory, and it's really hard to construct a way to sort of lose. So it's kind of fine to have slight inefficiencies here or there, because, like, I don't know, it was getting close to the point of the opponent could stack their deck and still lose the game. See if we are going to get another game, or we're just going to move on to the next round, in which case I will hop ahead. It looks like we are. At least a couple minutes of chatting, so probably we're skipping ahead. Yeah, okay. We're going to jump right ahead. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh, is this like a... Oh, this is game 3. So we do get a whole game. So this is FJS versus Winchest. As I kind of said, I don't have access to the specifics of the deck list. That matters a good deal in this matchup. Icarus's hand, though, is looking fucking thick. So that's a good start, although Julius does have a pretty smooth power draw, which is also important. So it's pretty clear to me that Julius is going to have to be the aggro here, and the fact that the opponent has a 3/3 in play is going to be an annoying element of that. I think that this might be a deep board plate kind of game, because especially since you saw multiple echo type effects. I guess it also matters on the number of the copies of Uru of the Jotun Hurler are in the deck too. That could make a difference as well in that decision. But I guess that I don't know. I find actually getting the Tomb against Genev, like, it's really hard to defend, especially when you're already facing off against the 3/3. Why did we block there? Does anyone have a good rationale on that one? Just saving life total? I guess? I don't know. That one was surprising. Yeah, life. I mean, sure, it works, but, like, why? I wish we saw the choices in some cards like this, but there's a few cards that are really great in premium. Forge Plate is definitely one of them, though. 8. Take it. We're just, like, super dead at this point. Yeah. Not super dead. Well, I guess we can do, like... I think, yeah, so here we go do Caleb's Choice. This happens, sure. We do 8 plus 6. Yeah, that's legal. It's pretty bad. Yeah, not a huge shock there. Like, I think that it was pretty... That was a game that I didn't... Part of the reason that I didn't like the Tomb is that when you're behind on tempo, especially in that matchup, you just can't. Like, there's no way to defend it. It just doesn't do anything. So I feel like, for instance, you played on something like the Argenport Merchant. Yeah, maybe that ends up doing something. Maybe we draw a Vara, or we are able to get that Rizon on the board. Like, there are ways in which these cards could do something. It's going to be a long shot, don't get me wrong. You're definitely behind by quite a lot, and you don't have any great decisions. But I think that it doesn't do a whole lot. I give them 5 minute tops for there are 300 in here. I mean, they're coming in hot and heavy, which I appreciate. We're just going in kind of a little bit late. That's fine, I guess. So this is the knife deck. I did have a chance to play this a little bit already. Drops. I don't have a command for it, but I do confirm that there are drops here. There, Vladimir. $100. Thank you very much for everybody who's hanging out. If you are new to the stream, I do appreciate any follows, etc. Now, the choking urn here, it does look a little bit weird of a card to play against a deck like Knife Looms. It's actually better than it looks because it invalidates all of the Aegis in the deck. Said that he didn't get an invite to ECQ this time neither. Yeah, he's just obviously C4'd, I thought. That's a funny little move there. I actually like that. 768-69771. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, sometimes people get dunked on in the first round. That's a thing that happens. This matchup is looking rough, being at 3 life against a deck that plays cards like Display of Impulse. Yeah, that'll do it. He was just dead on board, though, right? Yeah. He was just feigning it, I guess? Oh, he had to rain check, I guess? Okay, that kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know what happened, so I can't really comment on it. I mean, like, last month I know that he couldn't play. That I know for sure. But I don't know. I'm not going to comment on it. Check his video later. I guess. Like, so, yeah, somebody else who cares passionately on that subject should go for it. Interesting keep here, by the way. This is one that I'm kind of... This is a sketchy keep. We're on the play. We do get a feast color or a mirror image. It's a lot of blue, yeah. It's definitely a very blue deck. This is a way to describe it. So we are going to be able to, like, 100% chance of getting our Genev Merchant out on turn 3 if we want it. But we're not going to have any 2-drops. The only 2-drop in the deck is Hojon, though. So you can't, like, count on that. I mean, part of the thing for me is that, like, Hojon is just the best card in this deck, like, in the early turns of the game by a lot. Like, I mean, that kind of, like, seems almost like Teacher is a good card on turn 2. Like, yeah, it's kind of self-evident there. This deck particularly, though, is, like, a very Hojon-focused deck. I think one of the ways that Knife Bloom described the deck is the most Hojon deck that you can be. You can't be any more Hojon than this, which I think is a apt description. So, interested in other people's thoughts here about whether or not we should be just keeping a hand that looks something like this. I don't know for sure whether this is the first mulligan or the second mulligan. I think this, what I would say If it's the first hand that you get, I would send this back. If it was the second hand that I would get, I think that it's okay to keep it there. I don't think that this is okay to keep as a first hand, though, because it's got a very clear lack of threats. And if they are able to battle through that Geneva Merchant and before you get something like a mirror image off, it is going to be a pain in the ass. It's a pretty fast bottom. Yeah, that's another good point there, Storm, too, because it's basically a 6-card hand. It's a mediocre 6-card hand. I mean, it's a functional hand, though. So I don't think you're that worried, though, about drawing, like, just having a non-functional hand in this deck. It's pretty consistent. But you can just see that as a copy of Feast Caller, given the fact that you can do this, right? Got some Hojon action here, though, which I'm happy about. Juan Anders is playing a... Okay, specific guerrilla around Torch. That's fine. I think that... Because I'm just thinking here about sequencing power, but whether you're playing the Discursive Order versus the Reinvigorate, Recursive Order versus the Banner, because if you play the Recursive Order, obviously you get better power for next turns that you can play out Jotun Feast Caller. Jotun Feast Caller in general in this matchup seems really bad. Renowned Memes. I don't think this is a meme deck, man. This deck is actually decent. I was just playing it on beforehand. It does some really stupid shit sometimes. He went 26-2, not 28-2, because that's technically impossible. But you're right that it was only 2 losses in the tournament. I need to center myself better. Here I am, always moving off screen with my camera. Okay, I'm like once again not sure about this. He definitely knows his deck better than I do. Like, don't get me wrong here. So in many cases, I will default to him. I guess you always have access to this. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Since you always have the option to levitate and a turn to get a Hojon into play, to get a Sigil into play, you are going to be able to play the Jotun Feast Caller next turn. So that actually is probably just correct, now that I think about it. We got another follow there. CD Dragon Rubio. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Gun down on our friend, the Jotun Feast Caller. Just barely not surviving through that Reinvigorate. Reinvigorate is a card I just do not think is very good. Pretty clean turn here. Reinvigorate being open is also decent. This is always disgusting. Oh my god. Anya is a card that I think is decent. To be totally there. That is one that has impressed me. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely going up here. I do want to create a mid-range deck out there. I think that it's... yeah, I mean, Anya is like one of the reasons to play these, like this deck, basically. Like, I think that the card, when it's, especially when it's at its best, is just incredibly strong. Oh man. There are 3 life. I don't understand why we're doing that. I guess it's just style points. That's always fine. Skycracker's, like, the fact that Skycracker is just has so much problems against endurance units, like things like Sandstorm Titan, it just feels like you're going to be a bad Genev deck most of the time, right? Like, what are you doing that's so much better than Genev? I mean, like, obviously having a smoother power base is nice, but if you play Genev, you have to play Heart of the Vault and Equivocate. Yeah, Vlad, I think that this is a very good Huru deck, honestly. I was just playing it on stream just before we started this. Feast Color Peak. I'm gonna be honest, I just don't think that that's great. It's just a little bit too dirtily. I don't think that you need both of those to like win value battles. If one of those is able to stick effectively and like do all the work that you need to do, you can usually find a win off of it, right? Like if Feast Caller like lands and is able to survive for a while and like continue attacking, like that just carries you all by itself. You don't need multiple copies of it to just be clever. This is actually a particularly good use of the levitate here. It has no value, so it just go for the aggro. You're there to get the extra power to set up the Vanquisher's Blade. That was actually sick. I like something like Jumar plus hold up sharpened instincts. Sharpened reflexes, rather. That's a really scary block. What a brave man to even think about that. Yeah, going wide too is particularly dangerous. Yeah, now what we're gonna get is Vanquisher's Blade here, get the extra power, threaten the 8 damage, they have to equivocate the here. Yeah, all of this is pretty predictable based on that particular sequence of cards, but it just maximum punishment. Geomar here, that's all good. Gonna get something like Heart of All, try to pick that off. Looks like we got another follow though. Thank you very much, greatly appreciated. Oh, we got a deleted message. I will take a look at that to make sure that it's all good. Gold drops, yeah. Sorry about that, mail. No problem. Yeah, greatly appreciated the enthusiasm. This is actually a sick little interaction there. I hadn't realized that the math worked out perfectly for it. I just assumed that it survived. I got to that 5, and then the Storm Operative just saving it. What a clutch. It was turn 3. I don't think that he's pass upping on turn 2. We can go back and check. I'm actually curious now. Oh yeah, he totally did. That's actually sick. Just saying that it matters that much of getting that extra power, but I guess he didn't know that he had levitate. That's actually surprising. What the over the course of it, I haven't been watching it that carefully. Yeah, the sharpened reflexes. I mean, sharpened reflexes is not nearly in the same category as levitate for obvious reasons. Like one of them does a card and one of them doesn't. If he was levitate, I can see it a little bit more. Maybe he just really values the ramp that much. Interesting point. I'm not sure whether that's correct, but it's an interesting thing to note that was a play that he valued that much. I don't like. There are a lot of situations in which I will say, yeah, no, of course that it blanks it on Hojon. I get that. It's just a question of like, why do you care that much about it? And he was basically saying that he cares that much about the ramp on Hojon is what I expect. Ego. So the thing that I would note here is there are very few players that I would put into a category of like plays that I'm like truly suspicious of, and I think that have like real holes and maybe leaks in them that I would say like this player is making it with this kind of deck, and so I'm just going to defer to them that this was the correct way to approach it. Like there's just not a lot of players who fall into that category. Knife Bloom with like a Hojon style deck, I'm going to, because this is just the kind of shit that he always plays and does way better with than I do, and anybody else does. So he seems to get it. Yeah, I think that play Blade before 5. I mean, yeah, like he very clearly really works with. It's just interesting to me that it, like Hojan connecting, we had no pauses to indicate that we had a torch. Was there any there wasn't even a show, right? Like there was no hurler, there was no showed to suggest that there might be a hurler. Sorry, in Zektor, I just don't pay close enough attention to see all of that. I am just not that hip to follow it, but we are getting right now of Zach Hill versus the Cable. For those who do not know, ZDCH is Zach Hill, former Wizards of the Coast employee / Magic game designer. Ready to receive her commands. They're lovely to have you. Helpful Doorbet. I'm a big fan of your work in this deck than Hurler. I could definitely see that you do struggle a little bit with decks that are going to kind of go underneath you because you just kind of lose to tempo. Oof. Looks like we're relying on the burn to really get us there. We have 12 damage, so we can attack for 6, and then just play out some bullshit, and then stall for a turn, and we can probably, we're probably not dead. We just need one more attack. Right? Levity Feast Caller is really good. Then Feast Caller. I think that this is a Feast Caller deck in some respects. Yeah, but the Primal in... I don't agree, Iliac. I think that the Primal is pretty important with the tempo-ish elements of it. Like, things like the Savagery is really good. That is a surprising line to me. I have to do math. 1, 2... Yeah, I think we're just fine, right? We just block maximum damage? What are we doing here? Okay, I mean, that too. Just leave. The problem here is that you're really potentially causing some issues with the... that exact thing that happened. Let's go get a Scorpion. Because the thing that you get here is... Because do you have any way to remove it? You don't. Because I think that you can just... Yeah, you just block for max damage and kill two things. Or then you double torch, rather. There's much more likely way, especially when you have 2 of the... I don't even know if he blocked all of the stingers, because that is something that I'm kind of concerned about. I don't know. Miss lethal. Yeah, I think that he's supposed to maximum... Did he still have lethal that turn? And if so, how? Oh, right! Accelerate! Of course! Yeah. Yeah. No, that's actually perfect lethal. Fuck. That would have been a sick lethal. Oh, God. See, Praxis Arcanum is just a trap. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty obvious way to miss it. I just think that the most obvious thing about it was, why didn't he just block for maximum damage last turn, keep the show up, and then attack with show, double torch face, and you live? As opposed to try to attack through the ground when... Yeah, he missed lethal twice. There's even worlds in which, why, for instance, right now, Oh, I guess I think that you're also supposed to go for the treasure, before you go to this line, because you really want something like, if you find another torch, whatever. I don't know. We missed a good deal of lethal. Some lethals were missed, guys. Some lethals were missed. Hard to tell exactly how many of them, but at least one. At least two that we counted. I guess you actually don't want to draw cards because of the scorpions, and that really matters. Like, every life point, like, super matters here. Yeah, this is a pretty easy, obvious lock. FJS. Hello, Simon. How do you do? We were playing some. We're not even playing some Eternal. We're just watching some Eternal and then talking about it. So it is lovely to have you. What time is it there? Like fucking 3 a.m. or whatever? You're hanging out here with us when you should be in bed. Good old insomnia kicking in. Got a healthy crew of people here. Simon, of course, is one of the members of our I'm in the game, Iliex. Eskilo. I am meeting it tonight, but I am about to brush my teeth. Yeah. So, yeah, for people who don't know, Simon 90 there is one of the members of the Secret Shop podcast, which is my Artifact podcast. Assuming that the game is not, totally dead in the future, will you be the #1 podcast going forward is our plan. As always. But it's been... Yes, we get that here. Do we get lethal? I'm pretty sure we missed lethal there. I'm going to double check that. But, I'm going to quickly plug that right now. I'll have another thing to plug right while we're at it is as well, because, why not? Simon's giving me an excuse to do all the plugging. So I will not miss the opportunity to be well plugged, as it were. Secret Shop. Huh. No, Garfield leaving is not that. Like, we talk about that kind of shit a lot. So I don't think the game is dead for any for sure. It has a future. It just really depends on what Valve depends on wanting to do with it. The thing that I would say specifically about our podcast, though, is that we have a good deal of nonsense in there as well. So if you're not like super into Artifact itself, like it's just me and Simon and Anger goofing around all the time too, and having a lot of fun and talking about like like imps and crimes and like taking shits was another topic that Anger brought up at one point, because that's how she rolls. But we are also going to pull up something, a Space Eternal, because I specifically want to let people know that I am running a contest with Inked Gaming. They are, of course, a absolutely spectacular sponsor that have been working with A-Space Games for a good deal of time now, and we are doing a giveaway for an A-Space mouse pad, extra large size. So if you guys want to check that out, it's like no cost, enter the giveaway. The information is there on the tier list. I just plugged it in chat. If you're watching this also on YouTube, there should be something in the description below that you can check out as well to find this. But yeah, so check that out. There's a glean little thingamajobber that you can go through. You have to just visit the YouTube page, visit the Discord page, and then follow me on Twitch. So very easy things to do, and that'll get you all of your entries, 3 entries into the draw for getting all of that. I think those are the ones. Actually, there's also Twitter, following A+Space on Twitter. But yeah, I am going to go back into watching this. Because we have 11 damage plus 4 plus 3. Yeah, this is lethal. Yeah, I mean, like, part of the thing is that people actually don't look at the podcast very often from that, so I definitely want to do some updating with it sometime soon, sometime in the near future. It's just impossible to understand what's going on. It's definitely dense, is the way that I put it, but it is a very fun and rewarding game in some of the time. But yeah, the reason that I'm saying that this is like a punt, what happens here is that you don't need to torch here. We can just deep forge plate. We attack with both. If they, doesn't matter whether they block or not. We do 10 damage with Vara, or 9 damage either way, plus 6 damage with the show, and then the torch to the face, and we have lethal. But this particular like way here, like we're getting a Murderous Chains, which doesn't matter. Because like right now, like even if we had played out the deep forge plate in that instance, we wouldn't have had lethal. Likely doesn't matter, of course. Like, you know, Canopus is in very, very good shape. Yeah, well, that'll do it. I suppose that does play around your opponent having exactly Defiance, so you would just be stunning the show because you have to let the Vara through because you can't stun it. So even then, like, there's just no, I think, reasonable display of ambition. But like, you also should be able to tell whether there's been the pauses. It just feels, because you know that they just like went through the market too. So I don't know. I think it was definitely wrong. Very unlikely that we have that you're going to lose the game from that position anyway. But still. Let's actually do this properly. It's going to take a while if I don't do it this way. So, jumps to about here. We're going to jump in. Oh, we're going to have Canopus versus Magikarp. Tomb, I'm almost certain is wrong, especially since Canopus has the plate in his deck. Plate is pretty good against Magikarp. Obviously, Equivocate is not a card that you want to see, but it does let you, I mean, like, gain a bunch of life or, like, you know, cancel a permafrost. So I don't think this is a great idea. Yeah, I think that it's. I can hear Canopus. I mean, Canopus is what I'm seeing as the name that makes sense to me. But like, how good would plate be here? I think I would rate it as very good. I mean, obviously, you can't play it exactly this turn, but still, you do understand what I'm saying. No. It's fine. Thank you very much for stopping by. Greatly appreciate it. You also see actually that Magikarp here is playing as if his opponent has the card in hand, and so this actually does set up the blowout for the Equivocate. Interesting play here to actually send that back to the hand. Fascinating. Drawing show versus ball. Yeah, XD indeed. The Associate here is actually going to be very good. I still maintain the fact that I just don't think that it's as good as, like, a random removal spell. Or okay, well, like I say, a counter spell, rather. Like, if we had something just backlash there, it would do functionally the same thing. Except, like, the Slay is just gone. Is Helpful Robot just a bot? Because I feel like it actually is just a bot. I have never seen it before. I have not requested it to be here, so I just don't know. Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, mall. Get wrecked. Yeah, I think that test eternal test. I think that it also probably has like a bare minimum of time between them. Their paladin. I'm not sure though. It's just he deals with plate and chains. I'm like the thing that I maintain is that it's just I'm not convinced that it does that the ability to actually negate something is more powerful. Like, I think that that's really good to actually just remove it from the equation, and because the 2 damage that you get eventually is predicated on the fact that chains isn't relevant. Yeah, exactly. That's chain is the plate is the only thing that I think is a relevant one, and it just comes up in exactly one matchup basically. Like even against Rakano, that's just not a particularly popular matchup nowadays. Cannabis, like, once again, just grabbing that Regent's Tomb super aggressively. Wow, that was an interesting. Wait, what did we just do there? What on earth? Okay, I guess that this is. Yeah, I like he's just trying to get his opponent to draw more cards. I figured that I'm just like kind of doing the math in my mind of like whether or not it's worth it. So Regent's Tomb is going to be able to hit Maul here. Like that is a bold decision to say like the most that B-Gun is going to do here is like it is a lower value than just a Nightfall trigger. Both players draw a card and I deal damage to my opponent. Like that is a really bad card, but is that actually the best application of it? Because like I don't know, Vara or whatever. Your opponent also has plate too. You have no recourse against plate. If your opponent does have like plate on turn 5, you're fucked. Interesting. I don't know. Like that one is. I have a hard time believing that is the best application of it because it's just good against cards like Vara, which is in your opponent's deck, and you know it. Like this is definitely looking to be a rough game though for Magikarp. He's just a little bit too slow to develop. Being on the draw is also a drag. Once again, had Canopus got the we have the B-Gun here as well. Okay. That 2 damage is not going to do very much. Darkveil Agent. Yeah, sure. What would happen if this Regent's Tomb was a goddamn... I can never remember the name. Why? I don't know why I can't remember the name. Is it could just go to a plate? It'd be so good. Can't lose. I guess I was going to be able to hit them all, though. I don't know. None of them mattered that much. You could won the game without either of them, so I'm not going to rag on that. I shouldn't rag on them that hard, is probably the correct stance. Like, I don't think that it ended up mattering in that game that was the usage of Begon that he went for. Like, his hand is also looking pretty shitty. So just maximizing your chances of drawing something like Sigilyph next turn seems attractive too. That one's close. Honestly, it's surprisingly close. I still am kind of tempted to say it might be bad, but right now we are on a 6-card hand. It's worth noting for Magikarp. If I'm just doing my math correctly, we have a Dusk Raider out, though. That is a very good card when it isn't torched. But unfortunately, here's where we are. Interesting sequencing there, just deciding that he wants to get more cards, which makes a good deal of sense because you're probably going to have to go for a sleigh heavy, a mall heavy version of like a draw in order to win here. I like this use of Defiance, just gaining 5. It makes a huge difference in this matchup of just like every point of life. It makes a huge, huge difference. I tested this a bunch before the last ECQ, and it was something that I consistently found is just every point of life matters a ton. I always want to use my power more efficiently there. It also depends, I guess, on the spell number for Rizon. But, like, playing out Varo there is, like, pretty good. I guess you are blown up by those specific combinations of cards, but... This Maul is going to clean up, though. Assuming that Magikarp draws a power next turn. Which is really good considering the fact that his draw has been kind of rough. He's able to turn this around. Yeah, game 10. For a 1+ card in this matchup, huge. Is he 1 damage off lethal? I count 1 damage off lethal. Yeah. Ugh. So close. And then the game is just over. Yep. Like, totally done. We are finished here. But this is what I'm saying about it being such a good card in this matchup. Like, had he gotten the Tomb in that situation, then he does lose. But, I mean, he didn't, so, like, credit to him. The Maul deck is... It's definitely higher variance because the like Maul fundamentally like throws a lot of variance into your deck because like when you draw a bunch of them early in the game, you look like an idiot. Maul kind of sucks though. I mean, tell that to the people who got into the top 16 with it. It does have like it has specific decks that it like super punishes, which is like an attractive feature in deck when you can say things like we have a meta game that is populated by greedy Winchester decks, greedy Genev decks, which we're seeing right here. Like this is a realistic part of like what the metagame is about right now. Just this like super greedy shit. And you say like this is what a lot of the metagame looks like right now. I am going to beat them the fuck up. You know, it's good at doing that. Very good at doing that. Oh yeah, I mean the aggro matchup is abysmal. Need to be enabled to get drops. For it to be able to see you, I guess. I'm not a science wizard, so I can't really answer that one, unfortunately. I wish that I was. What's aggro? Never heard of it. It's an old deck that we had back in the olden days of Eternal, like with Haunted. We had the Party Hour deck. We had as well a Chalice deck once upon a time, and then there was the aggro decks as well from bygone era. Kamado doing Kamado-y things. I would have loved to watch that one from the beginning, though. That was GHP versus Kamado, which was a pretty sick matchup of two named players. Fortunately, we're only picking up the end of it there, but did look like a good matchup. And, of course, Kamado was playing well. He usually does. Oh my god, Chalice is a card. Yes. Rumor has it that it is still legal to play, though it has been unconfirmed. No verb. Baker to Beast, yeah. So this was actually one that there is a moment in here that I discussed on the who's a better Kamado or Komodo, though. I mean, I am a Kamado fanboy. If people have been following me for a while, probably have figured that out. That, like, I just think that his deck building and stuff like that is good. So I was like, oh, well, I understand that is at its core a troll. I'm just gonna say that I am a Kamado fanboy. Because but this game ends up being kind of interesting in a few different cases. So first off, no verb does know about the harsh rule in the opponent's hand, which is an important point here. Okay, so we get that. That is important to do for the purposes of being able to kill the Vara with a card like Display. One could even say there, actually, it might have been better to not activate Jerry for the purposes of killing a Vara that turn, / holding up the counterspell. I almost like holding up the 3-power there. It would have to be pretty expensive there, AM Lobato. Because that sounds pretty good. Dairy is one that I have been... Like, I discussed it on the podcast. I don't know if everyone had a chance to watch it, or listen to it yet, rather. I did discuss it on the podcast with Nover, because he was on there. Thing 7+ cost. 7... If it was 6, it would be pretty good, and would probably see a good deal of play. 7, I think that it's just too expensive. It's going to be one of those cards that's kind of hard to cost. But yeah, I'm going to say Dairy is a card that it has situations where it's good. It has situations where it's bad. You have to kind of make a certain call on the metagame. This particular build of Genev, I think, is doing a little bit more of firm calls of what they think the metagame is like and where it's going than maybe it looks like initially on the surface. Need to cost 5. I mean, there's one that costs 6 that has seen a reasonable amount of play. So, I don't know what you're talking about. They can cost 6. So, I'm skeptical still about Dairy, I guess that the way that I would put it. He definitely has more to show. I think that it's better than what it looks like initially, because I am, especially like initially when I first was looking at these decks, I thought that Dairy looked like shit. It's just too inconsistent of doing enough. But if you were playing against a particular type of deck, especially he's trying to focus against being better versus Haunted Highway was one of the big ones that he mentioned as wanting to improve his matchup there. Basically, Voyeur Brands for anything with 4. Yeah, but I mean, it's just 4 is just not good enough nowadays. Like, even when it was first printed, that was not good enough. I think that it was in 5 nowadays, it would, like, maybe see play. Now, if it would have been 5 before, like, back in, whenever, it would have been really much more exciting. I think that we got another follow there. Andrew is living. Very happy to hear that. Okay, so we got a Dairy Kython. So this is the play that is actually the controversial one that he wanted to highlight. So he is playing out a Sandstorm Titan into the the harsh rule that is in Baker's hand. The theory here is that he wants to protect the peak from being able to be hit from the Rizon. The question is, I'm just going to just go like forward like 2 seconds just so that we can see the board state. Yeah, okay. So needs equals I want. Yeah, it needs to hit. Yes, I want. Yeah, that is it, the correct reading of that one, Foxen. So what do we think about this here? So No Verb defended this to me. So initially, LSU on the cast, I think that his take on this was, this is overextending into the harsh rule. You're throwing away a card here. No Verb's response to that actually was that he wants to defend the peak. And because the Rizon has a free kill on the peak, and what you can do is attack peak down, that's dead now. And then harsh rule afterwards, if that's what you want to do. This does force out the harsh... Oh, sorry. I guess that this also just forces out the harsh rule too. You kind of want to say, like, maybe this is just particularly what you want to do. Yeah, you do. This is basically playing... I almost feel like this Titan is like a removal spell on the Rizon. I guess that if your opponent draws specifically a removal spell here, you're in a good deal of trouble, because if they, like, for instance, slay the Titan, you would then they attack the peak, they go up to 15. Like, yeah, you have them under still a decent amount of pressure, but you're gonna have a hard time racing them without committing even more to the board. But you've also gotten the best modes out of Peak, too. Like, Peak is just a... like, the card does matter, though. The Fire Sigil does matter. Like, so that's another thing to consider. I think this one's honestly close. Yeah, you can activate the secondary. That's a good point. I hadn't remembered that, the way that things work. They're Halfway Crusader. That's a good point. So that means that the 2 Darius is actually a decent amount of pressure. Because I also just don't think that Caleb is great here. Which is what you're mainly trying to get to, right? By making this play, because your hand is still just so stoked, like pumped with shit to do. It's like you don't want to ditch all this. I don't know. This one's really hard, actually. In mine. I'm just gonna move on. I don't have a good answer here, but yeah, we just get this is pretty all forced plays from this point, basically. Attack in, block here, harsh rule, play power, pass a turn. No Verb gets their sigil, plays it out, plays show. That was wrong to play the Fire Sigil, by the way. You should play the Time Sigil there for the purposes of being able to play out a Heart of the Vault, for example. And then also bottoming a Fire Sigil with a card like Strategize. You'd rather have the Fire Sigil in your hand in case you are running them out of your deck. Very minor point, but technically a difference. Oof. Well, this is going to be decent here because we get to activate for 8 or for 4. Yeah, well, 8 costs and then kill both of these, and then they are down to 7. That's pretty gross. That's fine. We can probably find lethal here, right? Yeah, we definitely have lethal here. Yep. Like bajillions over lethal. This is also part of the reason why I like to play Impulse in this deck, because you can just get in these positions where like, oh, hey, you're dead. And it's much better at that than the Howling Peak. I mean, obviously, Howling Peak gives you just infinite value, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I guess that the Howling Peak, like having it as a 4 of, does make probably makes the control matchup just embarrassing for your opponent, and which is one of the ones that I would have been concerned about going into this. I'm not sure. I think it also like counteracts like some of the logic that they were talking about that I heard was saying that they wanted to be better against Haunted Highway because Display Impulse is so good against Haunted Highway relative to the peak. I don't know, man. I have thoughts. It's confusing. Are we just talking for a while? Are we? How much more do we have of this? It looks like we're going to do a new game shortly. New game, Sono versus Greg APM. Assuming that it's Greg. Not actually sure. Torch on a turn 2 Teacher. Never have there been a more natural pairing in the history of Eternal. Greg here has a decision of whether or not they hit their opponent on turn 3 with a Mars Stinger or not. I don't really think that requires very much thought, but you know, whatever. Singer, like, by the way, I think that, like, I give Singer some shit because the card is not great, but if there is a deck that I think that it actually makes sense, it is Greg's deck, Greg APM's deck. It is the first one that I've seen that Lies, Unironin, and Concede is a classic. That's also a classic there too. But I think that a deck like Praxis makes a decent amount of sense because you could also just play such high density of these really powerful cards. Sono's deck, by the way, I mean, mono premiums here is very juicy, very, very provocative. I like it. The Surso, though, I don't really know why I want to play Surso right now. Like, is it that good in the mirror? I don't think so. And that's the only place that I would really want it. Why is Waystone disabled? I don't think that it's disabled. Or at least... Is it? I will take a look at that. I want to make sure that everything is going, especially for the campaign, going properly. Oh, it should be, like, it's showing up for me now, at least. I don't think it's disabled, no. So maybe it's just you. I don't know. It's definitely showing up for me now. Yeah, I mean, just maybe refresh the stream. Hopefully that'll fix it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing a deck right now. I have the game open, so it should be still fine in terms of the like stuff. Like on my end, I'm showing it says like Waystone disabled, in which case like it should be working. So at the very least, like you're gonna get the drop and everything like that. So don't worry about that end. Right now, Sono is just getting beaten the fuck up. So I don't know if there's a whole lot to talk about other than the fact that Greg's hand is stacked. Yeah, three fashion getting punished feels very good. Oh god, and that obelisk is going to finish things off quite nicely. Just or do that too. That's fine too. Okay, we're done here. Finally. It's so shiny. So much shine. You block your eyes from it. Who was it that was calling that 300 viewers? It's taken a while, a little bit longer than that 5 minutes that they initially cost. Yeah, especially at warp speed, just goes all out. Skipping ahead. Ooh, yeah. Why did the robot need Viagra? His dick was floppy. The helpful robot, man, it's definitely. I'd be interested to know who made it, if anybody knows out there. Enjoyed this week's podcast, by the way. It was actually a really informative podcast. He did do a podcast right before it with Sunnyvale, so check that out, guys, if you wanted more podcast content. Of course, no, like I enjoyed that conversation as well. The thing that was actually funny about that is that like I asked Noverb about coming on my podcast, and then he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to." He seemed very excited about it, and then I learned like later that day that he was doing one with Sunnyvale, like the next day, and I was like, oh, I'm like kind of like worried that it's going to be like super repetitive, but we actually had a bunch of great shit to talk about still, which is good. Shakedown, Torch, Steal the Smuggler. I think it's a decent bot. I'm fine with that. I mean, small things like that. I don't know if it was wrong in this situation. Okay, I'm not sure, but it's fine. Champion gonna hit you very hard in the face because of what he believes in. It's what his life is about. I don't know how I feel about Talut in this deck. Is this does anyone know if this Talut is a main deck or in the market? Because I don't remember exactly what happened. Yeah, double damage. He's just off the chain now. Get it here now, guys. 4 cost, 1/3, double damage. It's almost like a strictly better 2/3 for 4. Oh god. That was a very Haunted Highway kind of game. Just watching Dragonfly, saw through him of just charge unit after charge unit after recurred charge unit, and just like breaking him into tiny pieces. Now I know that he does lose to follow-up games. By the way, in case you're not new here, this is a spoiler-heavy stream. Should have warned you that beforehand, but this is where we are right now. Game 2. He wants to draw on turn 2. It's fine. Yeah, it's so bad. Because you also don't want to take the 2 damage. The overwhelm definitely doesn't matter. It's the only matchup where I think that it's actively very bad. I guess also against Maul too. In some respects, like those are the successful aggro decks, you could say, is the ones that make cards like Display of Ambition bad. Yeah. One step ahead of you. Okay, so that Talut is main deck. I don't like it. I don't know. Talut is a card that I've always been sort of soft on compared to most. I think that it's great in the ramp deck. Wait, what? Oh, you use him as show. That makes sense, I guess. I was looking at the Display for some reason. I think the Display is probably better than show. Okay, so CMS, I think that we're gonna get some more, not a ton, is my rule, like what I'd expect here for the remaining spoiler season for it. We do get it like kind of almost depends for, like, from spoiler season to spoiler season. So sorry, particularly consistent. I think that they it makes, like, okay sense. It's not great. Don't get me wrong. I think that neither card is particularly spectacular in this matchup. I don't think that it's categorically wrong, though, at the very least. Okay. That play was a little bit strange. I'm going to actually go back to that one and kind of figure that one out. Because I think that there was some mistakes here. Okay. So we have this combination of cards. So we don't know what's in the opponent's hand, so we can. I think there's a way to find lethal here, though. It's part of why I'm pausing here, or like why are we slaying before combat, especially if we're slaying the 2/2? Because if, for instance, they decide to block Vara with our with their 2/2, we will be pretty happy with that because we get to then display for the overwhelm damage, get a ton of life steal, don't quite deal lethal damage, but we then also get to, you know, do things like slay the 2/1 afterwards if we care about that, and we're like still holding up Defiance fine. Like, I don't think there's any reason to slay before combat unless you're slaying the deadly unit. Because if you just want to ensure that Vara gets through 100%, like doesn't die, which makes sense to me. But then we also have the possibility of, yeah, so I guess they don't die to the Nightfall. Let me just check. Yeah, they don't die to Nightfall. I just wanted to double check that. I think that you should just display the Defiance here. It's fine. They don't have anything in play. Oh, madness. I guess that doesn't kill your opponent, so it's fine. Yeah. Owen was a strange one. I'm pretty sure that slay is wrong, though. Like that, I'm almost positive about that. That was just incorrect. Like, unless somebody has a more compelling argument for me that is in chat, I would love to hear it, but I just don't think that that's the correct way to play that one. Alan Dort gives me the okay, so I'm gonna call it. I say it's so. Alan Dort says it's so. It's been made official. Game number 3. Dragonfly's power base is hurting here, as is the tradition. That was a good pitch there. There's like this is something that we were discussing about earlier. Yeah, this is enable Wavestone plays. Wavestone is like the reason that it's not enabled is because I'm not playing a game right now. Like, I mean, it's I don't know. It should be enabled in the sense of yeah. Like, let me just double check. I mean, whether this or earlier, it's something that like I'm not playing right now. Is the thing like we're just watching some games. For if in case you weren't here earlier. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a reason that it's disabled, but you're still getting the drops. You should still get the drops. It's just on in the background, because as I'm doing this other stuff. Stealth wins this one, which is impressive. Okay, so we get that. Kind of... that attack is really dicey. Like, are other people getting drops? Is I guess what other like it's hard for me to confirm because I don't get to see that. Not since the campaign started. I mean, if he says you've only been here for an hour, it's been on for over an hour. Have other people gotten drops? It's a confusing system. Like, if you don't understand it, like, no shame to you. I don't pretend to understand the system very well. Oh, you got a premium teacher? Okay, well, at least if it's, like, someone active. Go to store. I mean, it's in this... Like, I looked in the store just recently. Well, it's just off camera, so it showed up there. Yeah, it should say Waystone disabled because I'm not actively playing. But it's like it should still be showing up. Like it should be still getting the drops. I'm like not 1,000% sure of how it works. For it, actually, like let me just pause game. Okay, are you going to play? Yeah, I'm going to play afterwards. We're just getting close to the end of the ECQ stuff. Like what I do is part of my stream that I do on a regular basis is I do go through the ECQ, I analyze it, we talk about the decks with the results, etc. Well, one of the things I can do is the extra checks pop up. Have the timer running down still. I'm only 90% in. So one of the things I can do, actually, how about we take a break? We just do a quick game. And then we go back to the ECQ analysis just to make sure that it's all working properly. For it, because I think that it should renew if I'm actively playing the game again. I'm just going to have to adjust some settings. How does that sound to everybody? Just to make sure. Sounds fine to everybody. They have to... yeah, so unfortunately this does mean I'm going to have to dirtle around with changing this, changing that for half a moment, but I do want to make sure that everyone gets full value on the... come on. Why are you not seeing Eternal? Come on. Thing. There we are. On top of everything else, so demanding. I'm just going to ignore you guys for a couple moments. Talk amongst yourselves. The Blood God has a strong idea. I agree with that one. There people just make these sorts of mistakes all the time. In high level play, and one of the things that I've been noticing and doing this, also part of it is that we have the luxury of being able to see both hands. We stop and start, all of that, and like minor leaks in the game, you just don't get punished very often. Settings, windowed, undo that, accept, keep. I think that should be right. This is not quite right still. That should be good. Oh yeah, so definitely helpful doorbot. I understand now what the helpful doorbot thing is in terms of the why it's here, because it's somebody doing the auto spectate. I think so. We're just gonna do one game of Uru, by the way. Make sure that everything is running perfectly. Rank 6. I honestly think that if you do that kind of analysis at a lot of the games, you're going to see some sloppiness. Yeah, I definitely keep this. I really would like to have a spell to pair with the Hojon, but yeah, pop back up, yeah. So I think this should be fine for it, so we'll just do this and then we'll finish things out, and then we can watch some more of the ECQ after this game is done. This seems like a card I want, honestly. Like, it's so good with something like GMR or, or Hojon or whatever. I think that this particular format is particularly intensive in matchups, more so than some of the previous formats that I've seen and experienced. It feels like the particulars of a matchup are very important for what it's worth. I am going to pitch Wisdom of the Elders, even though it's against my beliefs and values. I'm going to do it anyway, for the greater good. I'm not going to let them play this for value, because I know that they want to be able to play something like that. Eternal Guy, I don't see the first build because the Waystone is in the way. But thank you very much for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. Savagery here is looking very sharp. Yeah, I've been a bit critical of them. I haven't gone full hog into writing some think piece on why I think they're destroying the game or something like that. I am sort of worried though about what they're going to do the game, especially as it continues to grow. I don't think so in Zector, so I'm not sure. As I said, I don't understand the system well enough. Yeah, their stats are very good. They're just so meta warping. I think that it's one of the things too that you can point to specifically is that part of the reason that Aurelian and Corendon have struggled so much has to do with how bad that merchant is that they have, the ambush one, because it's terrible compared to the others. It's gonna jam. They got a sigil for the waystone from their market, by the way. I'm pretty sure that this block is wrong. I guess that it could have protect specifically against something like levitate. Kind of blowouts. That variety of blowout. Did draw that. That power was definitely drawn this turn. Because they've been struggling with power all game, if you've been paying attention. Play a 4-drop, or 4/4 with no text. The billion Anya here, I'm ecstatic. I'm gonna be in fucking heaven. Is Geomar. So this is a 3/2 flyer for 4. Flying. Endurance. When you play a spell, Geomar gets +2/+2 lifesteal this turn. The moral of the story is that if you get a chance to untap with Geomar, you can usually win the game. It is not the greatest card. I will agree with that. What do they get from the market? I would say Savagery is the most likely. This is something of a blowout if it was Savagery. Actually, it's going to be Mirror Image. What am I talking about? It's definitely Mirror Image. Oh, or that. That also works. That's not great for me. Well, given the fact that I have 2 of these now, skip. Just Crown Watch Longsword. Okay, if they have a +3/+3, it goes to 8? Because it gets +5/+5. In which case I can reflexes it. Or they could just not block. I don't believe that I need another one. I would really like to have another. I mean, I'm not that excited for another power for that. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I was just double checking that math, Liliac. So I'm definitely going for savagery here this turn. The question is, do I bottom Vanquisher's Blade or Jotun Feast Caller? What do you guys think? I'm going to go for the Blade, I think. Yeah. It doesn't have any great targets in this deck. Bottom. Yeah. Yeah, it just, like, I guess that almost everything that they have in the deck that is, like, even like a 3 or a 4 or a 5 drop has Aegis. So Vanquisher's Blade is not going to do very much. I don't feel like cycling this right now. It's not going to likely do anything. Like, maybe there's a way in which it does something later on. So, yeah, that was good. What rank are we now? 3! Top 3! With miscellaneous Huru. With Huru Hojan. Hojan Huru. Levitate could draw a buff for them? I took you off of 3 Paradox. Whatever, man. Taste it. So it's what it's about. The Huru deck is very good. I honestly can't believe how much I've been winning with this. Yeah, took it off of rank 3. That's what's going on here. I just keep on winning. It's so funny. I don't know. Like, it's been such a long time since I've just been comfortably into, like, the top 10. And it's just been weird to me, like, being back here and being like, oh, I'm rank 3. Because there was a time when I was very good at Eternal. And I was in the top, 100, top 5, top 10, like, all of the time. And then I went and did other things. And then, like, last month I started playing a lot again. And just in case, like, you guys are wondering of, like, the best way to get better, play a lot. It does actually make a huge difference. I mean, it kind of sounds oversimplified, but I feel like it makes a huge difference in my play of, like, just the amount that I'm doing it. At least for me. I know the feeling about the deck and the winning, yeah. But yeah, let's finish up the top 64. Hopefully, the gold drops do not disappear from anything. I don't know. They're behaving a little bit weird, but hopefully it should be fine. Unfortunately, the details of this game have been lost, but it's done anyway, so it's fine. We Gucci. We Gucci. We're going into another game here. Yeah, looks like there's another game coming up probably quite shortly. Yeah, so I would say that Huru is like Knife Bloom's performance at the ECQ clearly is what put it into people's minds. So we have Skycrag versus Praxis here. Me having top 5 ranking, or somebody else? Oh, okay, you're talking to me. It's 10. Okay, sure, gotcha. This game does not look like it's going to last very much longer. I will, yeah. Very interesting and intriguing game. I spent like half a moment, like, what's going on here? What's going on? I was like, oh, okay. Skycrag is incredibly dead. going to just skip ahead to the next game then. Skip. Go. I will never understand why Twitch is so shitty to... Come on. Go. Come on, Twitch. You can handle it. Chunk Chunk is exactly like medium. He's fine. Are we going? Twitch? I thought we were friends. Oh, come on. It's giving me attitude. I am going to just refresh it. Give me a moment. I apologize, friends. I was being in my microphone, not just being creepy off camera. I mean, this is a bit creepy, and it was off camera, so, you know, I guess that's valid. Yeah, I think that it does allow you to cheat on the power count, which is cool. 342, yeah, no, it's been lovely to have everybody here. I will plug people once again with the information about the cool shit going on. Of course, if you guys haven't had a chance yet, please check out the contest that I'm running, the giveaway that I'm running through eSpace Games on the behalf also of Ink Gaming. It is a great way to support us as well, because it has you do things like follow the Twitch channel and check out the YouTube page, etc. But please do all of that. I would really appreciate that. And then you also have a chance to win an extra large mousepad, courtesy of Ink Gaming. On the ladder, on a new deck to invest in. Winchest is really, really good. Like right now, I wouldn't invest in anything new until we saw like the new expansion, the campaign, which is coming probably next week. It's supposed to be coming next week. So then, yeah, like I think that FTP, Winchest are definitely the two decks that have been consistently the best. And then, yeah, I think that the Reginator has basically it locked down of how I would describe things. This is no longer double speed, which is something that I care passionately about. Okay. We back. We'll catch up. I'm not going to jump around as if I don't have to, because it fucks itself up. Yeah. I'm fairly new, only have FGS, farming SS on ladder. I feel F to P, but so much hate on my deck. Yeah, I mean, those are the two decks that are definitely those still the best. So I would invest in those as you are able. I think that this game is not particularly interesting. Yeah, this one is kind of dry. We just beat up our opponent. The stealth just gets, yeah, dumped on. Reanimator is still pretty good. People are much better at playing against the deck, which is part of the reason why it's dropped off in popularity as well. So those are Reanimator is sweet. I mean, there's lots of sweet stuff. Jibado, thank you very much for the follow. I greatly appreciate that. Reanimator is also just a blast. It is a crazy deck, but if you are new to the game, it is a pretty heavy investment. You have to get 4 Vara, 4 Black Sky Harbinger, 4 Grasping at Shadows. These are obviously cards that, I mean, I guess Black Sky Harbinger does see some play now and then. Like, it's surprisingly bad now. This game, by the way, like, it's just tempo, stealth out. It's not particularly compelling. I'm not going to belabor things, as you'll see. Yeah, so we just bounce, burn, burn, attack, etc. The end. Do you play more Hate 4 now? And I also think that people play more Hate 4 than is necessary. It's one of the things that I have always been, I've been surprised by how long the gavels have hung around in people's markets, because I just don't think it's correct nowadays, because there's just not very much Reanimator anymore. But people just like stick with it, because in case they run into it, I guess they just don't know how to beat it. If Fort 518, thank you so much for the follow. Greatly appreciated. There was a pocket that I was doing absolutely absurd shit with it. I mean, it still happens every now and then. Like, there'll be, like, a couple days where I'm just jamming nothing but Reanimator and just murdering people. Like, absolutely just destroying people. I think that I went on, like, a 10-1 streak not that long ago with it. It's fucked up when people are not expecting it. Yeah. Yeah, I strong agree on that. It's 10. This game is a little bit more compelling than the previous one, but I still think that if I remember correctly, Noverb kind of just styles on his opponent. Super halty, though. Might decrease the quality a little bit. .480 should still be fine. If it can ever figure itself out. Man, this is being... Twitch. I have such a love-hate relationship with Twitch. I find Reanimator pretty engaging as the one playing it, but I feel pretty sure opponents are not very happy. Yeah, I mean, I also, like, what I would say is, this is actually an interesting decision here in some respects. Like, one thing that I will note that's interesting here is that we did see the merchant decision, that there was a merchant that was used, and we're not seeing something like a Vanquish here, for example, so that they're... Noverb, you will see, just kind of piece together what is in Stealth's hand here. Actually, mark it or 4 of. I am increasingly convinced that it is a pretty big... it is really hard to make the deck nearly as good when you have to play 4 copies of Harsh Rule in the main deck, because it just warps your deck building decisions and your gameplay decisions so much, because when you draw multiples of them, then you just can't play out onto the board. Instantly grasping at shadows. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that some people are a little bit spooked by when they see grasping at shadows and just being like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just dead now. Which, you know, it makes my job easier. I definitely am not opposed to that. But yeah, so this play here is also, like, super weird. One of the things that I was discussing on the podcast with Noverb is that I kind of feel like the approach in a situation like this, when you are in stealth position, is just like you have the merchant, the double damage merchant. You can just jam with the play and just say, do you have the equivocate? Because when you're getting it, oh yeah, right on time. I like it. Yeah. Great to have you here for it. But by the way, we did actually analyze your game back in the, like, whatever it was, round 3, Noverb, and that particular decision that you were talking about related to the Harsh Rule. I personally didn't come up with a conclusion one way or another. I think that it was close. I definitely acknowledge the idea of having, like, multiple threats is pretty interesting a lot of the time. I also don't think that the Caleb was, like, a huge value at that point, given the fact that you had the 2 best modes out of the Howling Peak already used. So I don't know there. I guess that the thing that I kind of said was it does force your opponent to Harsh Rule, which you could say that there's some attraction in that, even though it's a little bit awkward in how it words out. So I don't know. It's strange, and I think it was close. So I can see where you're coming from for it, but I could also imagine it being wrong. But I'm still convinced that this position from stealth, that it probably would have been better to just say, like, you grab the plate, it's time to just go. We did not come here to play. But he decides to play Rizon into the Sandstorm Titan, which is weird to me. Like, once again, we have another opportunity here. And you also see the awkwardness of Harsh Rule. Like, just that play there just feels so awkward. Like, you could just do the exact same play as you did last turn if you wanted to, and threaten the exact same things that you were, and you use your power more efficiently. Or you could play the plate and like right now and get value off of it. Know that you got that hit. And thank you very much for the follow, Nova. We greatly appreciate it. Yeah, he's played and Slay. I don't hate Rizon. So, yeah, still a fantastic card. Nerf doesn't matter. Mush and aggro isn't in the format. Yeah, I think that Rizon is a great card as well. I've pretty much decided that the having Rizon and less harsh rules in the main deck is kind of where you want to be. I think that I think the stealth version has the main deck harsh rules. What I would be most interested in is finding a way to get the also, like, once again here, like, this just feels like a situation where you want to do something like the T-Force play. Also, Stealther should have noticed the pause and noticed that his opponent has a 0-cost card, which could really only be Equivocate or Torch, which is kind of important to know. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I think that Makto, like, the point that I always focus on with the deck is, like, you want to solve problems as opposed to run Force Lay. I personally like Force Lay quite a lot. It's a very good card. I don't know if you've read it, but it does stuff. It has text. Yeah, this is one of the things that I discussed with Noverb on the podcast, is that the Equivocate here, like, yes, it kind of looks like a blow up, but at the same time, like, you had other options if you didn't know that you had the 0-cost Equivocate in hand. Like, my versions of I feel like there's a lot of people who are going for fancier versions of FGS and, like, trying to do cute shit, and I appreciate that at a level of trying to think outside the box and experiment with stuff. But at the end of the day, just like the standard build of the deck, it's so, like, plus or minus a few cards. Yeah, I think there were definitely, I think, some ways in which Stealth maybe could have gotten back in that game or play things differently. The 0-cost Equivocate is very hard to beat. Like, once your opponent has that, and they also can set up the counter spell, like, they're just in so much fucking trouble. So I think that Stowe 650, people's unhappiness with the metagame right now more relates to just staleness, in the sense that it's been around for a few months and they're just waiting for new content. Like, it's really hard in my mind to, like, really say, like, there's a big fat problem in the metagame. Like, there are various ways in which you can critique it at the edges. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It has a good diversity of decks. You have some combo shit. You have some you have fair stuff. You have grindy decks. You have some aggro decks. Like, you do have a pretty good range. It's hard to, I think, really say that it's got a major problem of any sort. And really, what the main problem is that we have just been playing the exact same metagame now for 3 months. The thing that I also just find so surprising, like, is just a consistent element of the game, is how the decks that have the best removal just define what the game is about. The main problem is people complaining about playing against FGS. Yeah, that seems like a pretty consistent issue in the metagame. Is people having to complain about that. It's the complaint metagame gets very old. I think that show. I've basically said since the printing that I think that show probably should be changed. I definitely would say that it should that it's too good. I think basically even like maybe like a month afterwards or so, I've been saying that I think that the treasures should cost 3. It's just too good in the fire mid-range control decks. I mean, like treasures cost 3. Yeah, it's a big hit, but that would be a fun one, a Tsubakami. Or you could make them cost FF. Like, that works too. Like, it does, in some respects, ruin some of the flavor for it. I think the Shimmer is, like, okay. It's not crazy, but it's medium and, like, fine. While making it cost 3. I think that it would still see play. The issue is that just like right now it's just so absolutely oppressive in terms of just anything that is like you really need to play a controlling like to play like that in most of your controlling decks. I guess that you have that one counterexample of so and so that did well with like Gozu that did well with the temporal control decks, but I don't know. Oppressive isn't the right word. Now that I like to be fair, we're done here. Come on, Greg. Let's wrap it up. Do the math. We're done. I think that you can definitely substantially nerf the card itself. Is supposed like if you go for the treasures to 3, that would I honestly think the card would still see play. If you went for treasure still costs 2, show goes to 8, and then the amplify cost goes to 3. That also that is a less substantial nerf, to be clear. Like than the treasures cost 3 to use. But I think that it also would be a little bit more suitable. I just think that it's so metagame warping of having it as being like and. You either have to change it or display of ambition eventually, in my mind. I don't know. The fact that you had this draw engine that was really good in the previous format that people felt was like really shaping the games and was fun and interesting to use and in Cookbook, and then it just died immediately because we just got a much better version of the card that is like much lower investment. And the fact, like people are even playing it in decks that can't cast it, which is my like a sign to me of a card that is unhealthy. Rank queue for 3 minutes. Yeah, I mean sometimes rank queues can just be like randomly bad. I don't know what happens, man. Good luck. Carnosaur in the market though reminds me of simpler times. It's definitely dumb. I will agree with that. Yeah, it is a serious flood. But why didn't he just... Oh, I mean, it doesn't make a difference. Sure, whatever. But he's flooding, but he's still winning, so it's fine. Maybe not anymore. Actually, yeah, he's definitely in trouble now. Basically, collectors needs a couple more power, and then the game's over. The equivocate on the Titan is probably happening over the next couple turns, and that's going to do it. Yeah, would you play show in non-fire decks with A+ merchants. I mean, I have seen people play it. I've never done it myself because I think that it's usually just better to play a normal show deck like Genève. Like yeah, you probably noticed this, Nova, but Genève and Winchester decks, they're kind of good. So just playing those without having to do anything fancy is pretty appealing to me. It is very telling, though, that we see these very particular decks that are just like very consistently super good, and just like we just have seen no changes in the course of the metagame of both Genève and Winchester being insane. That has to do with their merchants being very good, having good removal spells and good and access to show. It's kind of like this like triple threat thing that makes both of these decks feel similar in some respects and just be omnipresent because you just have such a base of powerful cards. Is there a way to fix it exactly, or does it need to be fixed? I'm not actually sure. It just does put this weird constraint on the metagame where everything is so warped around too few elements at some level. So I'm not exactly sure what needs to be done or how much of it needs to be done, but it's strange. Yeah, I'll admit the Grateful Smuggler is not insane, but the Howling Beak Smuggler makes up for that a lot. And they also have the best scythe as well. So it's just such a weird... I guess that set 5, like Defiance, was a weird game, a weird set in some ways because it was so skewed as to what we got. Like, Corendon and Aurelian are just dog shit at the end of the day. Like, you look at any of the cards there, you're just like, I don't understand what they're supposed to do, why is supposed to be playing them, like, what's attractive about this faction combination. Like it just, like, top to bottom, I'm just like, I don't get it. And then you have Genève and the Winchester, and you're like, fuck, these guys aren't mixing around. Ixton, yeah, like, there were, like, Ixton was always felt like it wasn't in the same tier as the other two. It's going to go back up. I think that Vargo does a lot to give them some direction. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that's something that I would definitely say, for sure, is that I don't think that there's any reason to do emergency stuff right now, that the metagame is so unbalanced that things need to just sway. And it tends... It's definitely right that we want to see what the metagame looks like post campaign, for sure. Yeah, I think that there was a number of directions, and the thing is also like, part of it for me is that I also don't feel that we need to have diversity for diversity's sake. Like, just raw deck number in the metagame isn't exactly what I crave the most. For because especially you do have different strategies. Like, you have like those two decks, like, they do take up. Yeah, actually, what I would put it this way is the main concern is what percentage of the metagame is Genève and Winchester. And it should also be noted that it changes dramatically between ECQs and then random ladder experience. Because I think that the ladder is much less incestuous than the ECQs. People are like playing around with different stuff. You have see like a wider variety of things. But when you're actually eggs and beans. Thank you very much for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. Anybody else who wants to follow me, I would love to have your follows. It helps me to take this more seriously, spend more time on it. I would love to do that. So yeah, well, aggro kind of exists on ladder. Yeah, well, like, aggro does kind of exist on ladder, which is a good thing. But the fact that the ECQ metagame and the metagame for... Oh, we got a subscription from A4518. Thank you so much. Thank you for the subscription. Welcome to the channel. Thank you very much. Helpful Doorbot of supporting that. Anybody else who has some spare Twitch Prime subscriptions, I will be very happy to take them. I'll be hoping to stream a lot more regularly over the course of the next couple of weeks. now that I have my computer back. So there were a couple weeks there that I was not doing a whole lot of streaming. That was because of some computer issues. But those should be resolved by now. Yeah, play a safe deck, like safe, consistent deck that like decks. If you play them well, you can find wins a lot of the time. It does really make you want to play things like Winchess and Genev a lot more, as opposed to decks that if you get it wrong, you're dead. Like you can't be that. If you get a good version of, like a decent version of Genev or of Winchess, your deck can get you to the top 64. I think a couple this time are not a lot, like usual. Usually it's like just a couple get in. I can't confirm that though. Eternal is coming to Switch. This is good too. I'm happy about this. It doesn't particularly affect me very much, but you know, it's nice. It's nice. I love Switch Eternal. Has it, like, when do we know when exactly it's happening yet? It seems that you actually care about this as opposed to I do. Yeah, we don't exactly know how this calculated. I know that the count on the majority of the 18 and 10s get knocked out. Both of the last ones that I was watching, which is really nice. Such a great console. I mean, people I've talked to say that it's great. I don't play with it, though. I only play on my PCs. Oh, hey, we got a rating party of 255. We have a fucking party. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Kalos, for the host. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to send your fam this way. So enjoy your evening if you're taking off, but I greatly appreciate it. We got a big fat crew in here tonight. Lovely to have you all. But yeah, so we are, for those of you who are just joining us right now, what we're doing here is we're going through the ECQ, the top 8, or actually in the finals right now, and doing some analysis of what's going on. This case, no verb just missed on their opponent's hand, which it happens. This whole matchup is just like so polarized. I thought it all ends up panning out, but we get a activation on Derry, Cathon, and attack in. This is one of the matches where I think that Derry looks better than average, I think, because like you can get early pressure down. Like getting the pressure down is so important. So I also like getting the downpour there preemptively, because it is the card that is probably the best in this matchup, even if you don't have access to the merchant, the Howling Peak Merchant. This is a blowout, by the way. This block, it just works out very, very badly. And this is actually, I think you should have read from the side of Collector, especially since Nover played the power out. Oh, Defiance, so easy. Defiance is very good. This is also one of the elements of this that I either ATM. This is also the very first Kyrex lethal in you're right. Like this is the epitome of a Kyrex the Kyrex, whatever its name is, will. The power was a mistake. I mean, a lot of mistakes this match. Yeah, I mean, I think the slight sloppiness there wasn't a huge deal. But it definitely would say that you were supposed to sequence things differently there. But you do have the best performance of Kyrex in a competitive game of Eternal that will likely ever be seen. Have you ever considered that? Oh yeah, I'd had to have. If it went through the top 60, got to the top 64. I think that especially if people don't remember kind of how to play against it, like one of the big advantages also in the lead up is that it looks like the Maul deck. I think that the RNG on Equivocate is kind of fine. Like the main thing is it's just such a powerful removal spell. for a faction combination that doesn't get it. Like, I think that if I had to say a concern, it's more about that. By the way, Dust Raider is a good card. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. It tells you sometimes. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, one of the advantages that you get in Collector's Deck is that if people don't know that you are on this versus the Legion Maul deck, you can get some kind of free wins that way because people will just misevaluate what's going on because they're just like panicking, getting stuff out of their hand, and then you are just like, well, building up for a long game, or they just assume it's like, oh, I got my life total to, I emptied my hand, my life total is at 12, like I can't lose, and then you get Berserk Mauled or Berserk Shimmerpacked. Pause it. Oh, come on, pause. Come on, Twitch. Come on. Back it up. Dear Twitch, I'm trying to pause you. No Verb has a comment that he would like to make. Titan over Merchant there. Okay, so what happens exactly here? Let's. Oh, this is, yeah, we're dead already. At this point, we have to go back further. I'm just gonna double check for a minute. I think I know roughly what the board state is, but I'm gonna go to 1 speed. I know the one that he's talking about. I should be able to figure this one out. Ugh. It's so hard to navigate this, though. Yeah, if the first Titan goes down. So the first Titan goes down, then you get hit by Equivocate, and they hit you in the face a lot. We can go slower for this one. Oh my god, the game is so slow now. 1 speed. It hurts me. I'm still seeing the drop timers there, Ron. Rob and City. Yeah, that play was kind of forced. Now we get the Berserk Sickles. Bajillion damage coming in right now, roughly speaking. Yeah, the Berserk is... Dust Raider is a very good card. It was a card that I wildly underestimated. So here was the situation I think that what he's talking about. I just don't think that you could do very much. Actually, maybe it's here. This is the one that you're talking about, right? No verb. Because we can play a merchant, get power, play the treasure. What do I think is in my opponent's hand at this point? I don't really have very much information. They've hit all of their power drops, so I don't have any information there. And they've basically, like last turn, they played out Teacher with Berserk. Play Merchant, what would we be getting? We would be getting the Banner. Because we want to go Banner, Treasurer, and then play things out in the future more smoothly. And then hopefully in the next turn go Titan plus Permafrost. like, what do I think is the most likely way for... I think that Titan, you're probably in a lot of trouble against Equivocate. They did miss a power drop, I think, if memory serves. I think that it comes down to what you read as being the game state here in terms of how much trouble you're in. In the case of the Titan, it's a little bit more of a Hail Mary of saying, if they have the Equivocate, I'm pretty much dead. And yeah, he hadn't merchanted. Yeah. So... Oh, it's in his market. I did not realize that it wasn't in his main deck. So in that case, you know you're dead to one of 8 copies of a merchant plus power. Probably. This one's tough. I think that probably Titan is actually better. Given that like they have to have an autoplayed power, you have good reason to believe that they don't have the extra power in hand if my memory serves the game. So it's like barely better, but especially because there's a decent, like I think that all things considered, there's a pretty good decent chance that you get permafrosted here. You still get absolutely butchered because they draw the nuts, but I do think both lines are defensible. I'm not sure. And I don't think that either beats this. Really. Like, we play the... Yeah, actually, definitely don't beats this, because we're good, like, Sickles kills you either way there, so it makes it really hard. Did I do this last tournament? Yeah, I did. A for it. I do this for... I've done it for all the ECQ... Like, this is ECQ, the last ECQ, and then I've done it for... a lot of the ETSs. I didn't do it for the most recent one, but a lot of them. You don't find it all on my YouTube channel, which I can just link to you right now. The last game is involves just no verb getting violated. So we can watch that together. Just enjoy the spectacle. There's also a link below, too. You can check all of that out. There's all sorts of links below that you can check out if you haven't had a chance already. Oh, I mean, I would be tilting for this game, too. Because this was not a pretty game in terms of the sportsmanship side. The way that I described it in our interview, of course, was that from the blood sport perspective, it was quite solid. Welcome to the channel, Bebop. Hola, indeed, on X Coast. Helpful Doorbot is very bizarre to me. I guess he does all of those ones. He's confusing. And you just want to trigger, you know, the Helpful Doorbot left, right, and center. I'm here for it. Beep bop, yeah. It is a bot that is here not on my decision. Like, I have not put it here on purpose. It has just shown up, and I guess that it's because I'm just doing a campaign that it just follows the campaigns for it. I don't know exactly what's going on, though. It is a very weird experience that just suddenly shows up of just being like responding to people like crazy. So if somebody figures out who made it and why it's here, I'm interested to hear about that. but he expected the purpose is largely to harvest the drops in a the type of behavior that looks more organic. But I don't know. Berserk Sickles is fucking disgusting. It can be described no other way. Both of these games, by the way, what happened here is we got a turn 2 Dusk Raider that just hung around all game. This is the finals, yeah. Yes, it's very strange, Water. I'll agree. I don't know how I feel about it exactly. 10 guaranteed damage, yeah. It's... I mean, you basically have to have something like Defiance? Other than that, there's just nothing that really works for it. I mean, when you put that kind of shit in your deck, you get the opportunity to high roll. Yeah. The Dust Raider did, like, the Lord's work in these games. Banish. Yes, that is technically correct. Not miracling the Heart of the Vault here is suspicious. Like, we're at 20. Am I happy about... I mean, like, it is kind of a high roll thing. It also kills the... Like, this kills also the Berserk, the Dust Raider, which is pretty appealing. Annihilate, nobody's ever played that card. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, did you just play the... Oh, you just got to 5 power. Right. I'm stupid. No, you played, like... Why do you not have the power? This was your 6 power turn. What about not having the power? Like, you go to 6 power, you could have done it. You did? Oh, huh. Yeah. I mean, I think that this line is, like, defensible, still. But it's... I think that I still prefer that. Yeah, I think that I just go for the high roll. Like, I understand now that that was just, you know, a mistake. But I go for the high roll decision here. But we are going to get Berserk packed here. Just the tilt. I mean, you are very unlikely to win this game one way or another there, but still. Yeah, I don't think that the game plays out very much different. It's just wrong. This is one of the things I always stress, though. I always stress in these situations is that let's pause here. Hopefully Twitch will pause for us. Yes, it does. Like, what about Heart of the Vault drawing 4-cost Heart of the Vault? Is that a reasonable line? I mean, I don't know if Heart of the Vault is ever reasonable. It's just that one of the big advantages is that if you do get Heart of the Vault and you get something like a 0-cost Equivocate, that allows you to do something like the Equivocate on a Shimmerpack, like the Berserk Shimmerpack, which can maybe buy you a lot if that does some weird shit in terms of how the game could play out. So, I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, that is it for the ECQ analysis. Once again, I will remind people that... I close that. We should be able to go back into playing some actual Eternal. But we are going... I'm going to remind people that we do have a contest going on. Be sure to check it out for getting a free extra large mouse pad but we are going to play some games for a little bit. Did we have some requests for decks? I don't believe that we did. I was just going to play some more Huru, kill people with that.